Hello, hello. Happy Friday, hey everyone. Hope you are doing well and have been enjoying a good week. This is my YouTube stream number 2. We'll see. I'm still really concerned about the YouTube stream status warning that I get. Stream status bad. Not receiving video data at a fast enough rate. Your viewers may experience buffering. Ensure your connection is fast enough. I'm like hardwired to my modem, so I'm like the fastest I can get. So, hey, Frank's in the house, waiting patiently. Matt. Hello, hello, hello. Yeah, if you guys let me know in chat how the, I think there's some, what did I do with chat before? I popped it out in its own window. I am using OBS. If there's, OBS says things are good. I'm streaming at around 3,000 kilobits per second. I have 0 dropped frames from OBS, so I don't know why. Oh, YouTube says it's now good. All right, they upgraded me to good. All right. Where did chat go? I popped it out and now I lost it. All right. Slowly but surely, we're gonna get a handle on these things and get smoother. Molly, hello, welcome. This is one thing I'm enjoying already about YouTube is like feeling like I'm talking with real people. All right. Another thing I love about streaming on YouTube so far is that I can drop something in chat, like this link, which I'll talk about in a second. And then when people come in, let's say someone comes in 10 minutes from now, they'll be able to scroll up and see that link. Like Ralph, he's in the house. Hey. He can see that link. The link I just shared, by the way, is a place to ask questions. So if you have a question in mind, it can be anything. You can ask a question about design, about my experience, anything. Maybe just a really interesting question that you enjoy asking people. I'm gonna experiment with using the this Slido app as a question tool. So you can head over the link. Even if you don't have a question in mind, you might get inspired by something you see there. I'll show it. I'll show what it looks like. I should have had this up in my tab. We'll bring this up. So we've got a bunch of questions in there. It looks like Matt, thank you. We've got a bunch of questions in there. We've got one from Rita. We've got some anonymous questions. So using that link I threw in chat, you can add your own question or you can upvote questions. I see people are already upvoting. It's fantastic because that's going to help me give a signal about what people want to hear. Because I'm probably not going to spend the time going through every question. I'll try to answer a few. All right, we're in here. I think we're warmed up enough. We've got, I can see chat. I can see status. It says my stream is bad again. I don't know. OBS, my actual streaming software, is everything looks good, and YouTube is like a really harsh critic. Anyways, let me know in chat if there's any issues with the video or audio, and I will do my best to correct those. Is that Raj? Haven't seen you in a while. How are you doing? All right. We're getting warmed up. This is great. So if you haven't been here before and you've never seen me, you're like, who is this guy? My name's Adam Ruff, as you see on the screen. Let's see, which way do I point? Oh, I got my like mirror mode on over there. I am a product designer at AngelList. We're hiring, by the way. Yeah, I love mentoring. I've taught university courses on user experience design and front-end development. I've done a lot of kind of lightning mentoring and different mentoring courses, and this is like my new mentoring outlet. So this is 2 hours a week or so, 1 to 2 hours a week I've got carved out, I'm here to help, here to answer questions, here to work on some projects. I think it can always be interesting to see people work. You never know what you're going to get out of that. So tonight we're going to do a few things. Where's my list? That's the one thing. Where did I put my... where do I see what I said I was going to do? I said I'm going to respond to your questions. I'm going to do a little designer show and tell. Oh, I'm not going to do landing page resources, so I didn't get those ready. I'll have to punt on that. We're going to take a look at Matt's portfolio, UX portfolio, do a little review, and then get into some wrap up from something we did last week. And if we still have time after that, then I'm going to work on a new page for my own website. All right, let's get started here. Let's try out this question thing. Let's see, let me refresh it. I'll post it again in chat. Actually, I know what I'll do. I'm going to give everyone a few minutes to put questions in and upvote questions while I share a few things. So the first thing I'll share is just plug for AngelList. Not only are we at AngelList hiring, my team is hiring for software engineers. We've got a bunch of designer roles, I think, on the talent side we're hiring for. I'll just plug this in chat. Even if you don't find something at AngelList that looks interesting to you, AngelList itself is a fantastic platform for finding great jobs. Ultimately, that's how I got my job at AngelList, was through AngelList. So that's my plug for AngelList. Check it out. They've got great filtering for jobs in many, many cities and areas of the world. So check that out. All right. 2, I'll preface this by saying I haven't actually tried out this tool, but I don't always have time to try out every single thing I see. And this one looked cool. So I'm going to pop this link in here, and you can see I've got my little URL parameter. I've discovered this through Product Hunt. I see Raj's asking questions. Awesome. I'm doing fairly well, Raj. I don't know if you can see I fractured my wrist, a small fracture, but tomorrow I'm going to get x-rays. And what happened? Error, try again. Edit and try again. Okay, there's the link. I guess it doesn't like the URL param on there. Switch from Twitch to YouTube is really just like me finally listening to like everybody saying, if you want to attract a larger audience, if you want to connect with more designers, then you should go where more designers are. And there are way more designers and people interested in design and looking for design content on YouTube. So it seemed only natural. And so now I'm over here trying it. Thank you. I hope to feel better soon as well. This one-handed way of living is not fun. So yeah, it looks like this pixel snap, not only can you like measure stuff. So let's say someone gave you, I'm guessing if someone gave you a screenshot, maybe a to-do is to, I don't know if I have to, oh, you have to buy it. So we'll see. Maybe I'll buy it and then I can show it off. But it looks pretty cool. It looks like you can measure a bunch of things in screenshots, or oh, maybe it's only it's locally looking at anything, and then you can like draw around it and it will wrap to things, which is pretty awesome. You can add guides. So this would be good for if you see an interesting layout on the web that you want to replicate. You can figure out by adding guides, you can essentially figure out what grid they're using, which is cool. Thanks, Frank. Appreciate that. And then you can take screenshots, which is cool. I use Snagit for screenshots. I'm probably gonna invest in this and check it out because they have this clean shot, screenshot, crosshair mode, tolerance mode. You can like pick the tolerance that you want. Like, do you incorporate shadows? So all in all, looks pretty cool. We support your touch bar. Okay. I should actually do a little post on that. Like, it took me a little over a year, but I finally went through and read what some people did to like fix their touch bar. And so now mine is set up really simple. It's basically set up like the old Mac keyboard, where I can control like keyboard brightness, monitor brightness, volume, just these static buttons. Escape button always there. That's actually been a pretty good productivity boost for me. All right, so that is Pixel Snap. Product Hunt, I'll plug the Chrome extension. Do I have the link here? What do I do here? I copy the link address. So where do I find out about a lot of this cool stuff? Product Hunt. So Product Hunt is a member of the AngelList family, and this is a great place for, if you're a maker, to share your stuff and to discover new things, to get inspired, and find tools to help you. So highly recommend that. They do have this Chrome plugin that will show you stuff. What's the next thing? Design Animation Handbook. Oh man, this has a long one. Let me see. So if you're getting into animations for the web, a free ebook on animation from InVision and Design Better. There's I think some pretty thoughtful content here around animation. And then we've got Ryan, the author, and that's it for the plug. But check out the book if you're getting into animation. I highly recommend starting by reading and learning from others. You can often spend a small amount of time reading and diving in. It's going to save you a lot of time gearing up and getting started. The last thing, actually, I'll save that for the potential future product. We're not going to peek at that yet. Erase that from your mind. We didn't see it. Let's go to questions. We're going to answer a handful of questions, and then we'll get to portfolio review. Get my water open here. Alrighty. Well, there's 3 that bubbled up to the top, so let's go ahead and tackle these first 3. I don't know exactly what will happen if all these questions disappear, but I'll look into that, like trying to keep them over so we can keep a list and just upvote them. Oh, it looks like another one got upvoted too. All right, what's the difference between UX design and product design? Interesting question. So I think the way that I'll answer this is from a perspective of someone who's been a UX designer and a product designer in terms of title. I think there's a few different answers that could be correct. I don't think there's one true or most correct answer. So I'll talk about a few of the differences and similarities. So one, at certain companies, I've found that product designer is just the trendy new label. And maybe should I switch to me while I do this? I'll be like big and personal when I'm answering these questions instead of just showing the question. We'll try that. So like I was saying, at some companies, I feel like product designer is just the new label. It's the new hot trendy label. If you are a UX designer in 2017 and you're working at the same company, maybe you're a product designer in 2019. The last time I was doing a job hunt in late Q3 of 2018, 90% of the jobs that looked interesting to me had the title product designer. Some of those, so that's where I feel it's very much the same. UX design, product design, in many cases, for the most part, it's the same. I will talk about a slight difference I noticed with product design at AngelList. And at AngelList, the venture team that I'm on is relatively flat. So we have engineers and we have designers. And that's the product team. There's no product manager. So engineers technically have the title product engineer, and designers have product designer. And what's special or unique about that is that we do essentially the work that's often done by a product manager in other companies. So we're thinking more about brainstorming ideas for new products. We're pitching new products. We're sharing those ideas with each other and saying, yes, that sounds good. That sounds good enough to invest resources in. Cool, I'm going to take on that project next quarter. Who's going to work with me on that project? That's the big difference that I see working at Angelus. And I suspect that there's probably other companies that use the product designer title in that way as well, where there's an even greater focus on not just understanding about human-centered design and user experience design and knowing that end-to-end cycle, but also being thoughtful about product and the business side as well, and starting to incorporate some of that product and business thinking into the work that you do at the company. How is that? Does that make sense? Was that clear? I hope I answered that one sufficiently. Let me know if there's any nuance that I missed. All right, next, Matt asks, what makes for a strong portfolio presentation? Raj is asking. I don't know. He's got a winky face. I don't know. All right, good. He clarified he's kidding. Thank you. Matt asks, what makes for a strong portfolio presentation? So in my recent experience, I ended up with a presentation that worked very well for me. And what I found worked well was, I'm going to just try to run through the combo in my mind. So it started with an intro that was customized for the company. So it'd say something like Adam Ruff's portfolio presentation, like presenting at Angelus, October, actually was this in September? Probably September, whatever, 2018, blah, blah, blah. Next, I had a quick intro slide, just something about me, right? Here's Adam, he's got these cool, it's like kind of like a condensed version of the about page. Adam is an interesting human being, even outside of doing work. Then I had another slide that was actually, I'll switch over here. Let me switch over to this view. I actually had a slide in my portfolio that's pretty much like, ignore all the text, but just look at these images. Well, obviously not Angelus, because that wasn't somewhere where I worked when I was going around last, but like this Twitch image, this Yahoo image, this Brightroll image, this user testing image. I think I pulled this Academy of Art University and Design Lab image. Imagine these images as just kind of like squares on the page. They're just things to look at. I think that was another really big thing. Portfolio presentation, keep your text on the slides to minimum. Like, this is a presentation. Use the slides to help communicate information. Think visually, and then tell the story with your words. That seemed to work very well for me. So there was that, and then we'll fade back. There's me again. Then I basically dove into why this company, why this opportunity. So I had a little, just one slide highlighting some of the things that I thought were super exciting about the particular role. Just again, to reinforce, like, I'm here, I'm presenting to you because these things are really interesting to me, and I see these as really exciting. I think it does double work as not only communicating that you are really excited about the role, which you should be, right? If you're already at the portfolio stage, like you've gone through a bunch of interviews, you've learned a bunch about the company, by then you should be excited, unless this is the strategy where you have like A companies, B companies, C companies, and you're literally just doing this to get the practice. This is like a C company you don't care about. Cool. I would say still treat them like the A company. Bring that level, because that practice will help you get up to where you need to be with that level. After highlighting a few things I like about the company, then I go into projects. I do 2 projects, and I try to use a T-shape. Let's see. T-shape pattern where I talk about the project. I show what the situation was before the project. So I give people a grounding in history, like where was this when it started? Show a big, screenshot. This is the before. Highlight some of the issues, right? Pain points, problems. Talk about goals, desired outcomes, and success metrics. Then I had, let me see if I can actually show it. If you don't mind waiting 1 minute, I'll show I'll cherry pick a slide from this. Let me pick I'll do the one I presented at AngelList. All right, it's opening. Oh, another thing, local. Don't put your presentation on the web. You never know. The internet's down, something goes wrong. You want to have your stuff locally. So there's that. I'm going to pull it off for just a second so I can go in and get to the specific slide. I don't want to give away all my secrets right now, at least. But I do want to highlight this process slide. Let's see. Can I collapse this? Oh, man. I can't show a slide and collapse it. All right, here we go. We can be cool about this. So here's an example of a process slide. I'm showing this one. Oh, I'm not showing it. You can't see it. You're still looking at me saying, what the heck, Adam? Show the thing. Hang on. There we go. I get too excited. I forget where the screen is. All right, we'll kind of pull that out. I'll highlight this because I think this is probably maybe one of my secret tactics that worked really well. And that I noticed when other people were presenting, they often got hung up on this process. This is basically the entire process of the project in one slide. Look at how many different little artifacts and screenshots I have, right? I have screenshots of inspiration. I have analog sketches. I have super janky wireframes. I have other things. If I click on this, it's actually a video and I can show some of the functionality and things. So I can have this animating while I talk. And then I just have simple bullets about what I did, just kind of going over the process. In many presentations, I see people really focus on the process when that's just the baseline. That's just expected work. Yeah, you're going to have conversations with people. You're going to partner with someone. You're going to do some whiteboard or sketching. You're going to wireframe. You're going to prototype and test. You might get into HTML, SAS, front-end support. Cool. That's all expected. So that's that. After that, I basically go into my T-shape process, where I'm talking about what we did at launch, and then I dive deep into some of the interaction. So I highlight some of the key... Back to me. I highlight some of the key new features or functionalities, things that really made an impact or important design decisions. I show iterations. I show V1, V2, V3, talk briefly about how these evolved. I think showing iterative work is super important. And then after I kind of do an overview of some of those high-level important features or changes, then I do a results, talk about both quantitative and qualitative feedback that was received, things that we measured, right? So have a chart, right, that shows things up and to the right, hopefully, or down and to the right if you're trying to reduce some behavior. And then I include some tweets. So things that users and customers were saying publicly about the new result, or the new, in that case, it was a redesign project. And then from there, I dive really deep into one specific element. So nitty gritty, maybe 6 or 7 slides, all about one little teeny tiny feature to go deep. That's just T-shape, right? You cover the basics, then you go really deep into something. And I do that for two projects. After that, I created the slides. I knew it was in the slides, and I just practiced telling the story with the slides. Every time I would do that presentation, it's slightly different. I guarantee you I never did that presentation exactly the same twice. But it was okay because I had enough experience just working with the slides and telling the story, right? I already knew this story. I didn't need to learn the story or like write the story. I knew the story. It was internalized. But what practicing many, many times helped me do was get my timing down. So I was, by the time I was going for the interviewing at the companies that I was most excited about, I was hitting 20-minute mark exactly, like 20 minutes. Even if I got off to a little bit late start because we were waiting on someone, I was able to modify, stop in time, have plenty of room for questions, which I think was really important. And the audience seemed to be very receptive. I mean, people made comments about like, wow, like you covered a lot and you did it on time. Like that's something that stood out to some people. All right, that's that. That's kind of my long-winded question for what makes a strong portfolio presentation. I guess another thing to say is just like have fun. Like I think that's an important part of practicing a lot and getting really comfortable with the material is to have fun. So when people were making comments, I would like refer back to something someone said. Just have fun. It should be fun. You want it to feel like you're actually there. Like this is just a group of your colleagues and you're sharing something with them. So to go in kind of with that mindset that, hey, this is all about having fun and sharing your story, I think helps too with the attitude aspect. All right. What are we at? Almost 6:30 now. I think I'm going to do one more question and then we're going to dive into some portfolio review. I'll refresh just I don't know if this thing live updates with rankings. All right, the next one is what are you working on these days at AngelList? So I'm working on a couple things at AngelList. I think this week focusing on two things. First thing that I'm focusing on is a findings report from a product satisfaction / UX survey that myself and my partner Rhonda, who is a super huge help, couldn't have done it without her. We got this survey out. We built it in Typeform. We asked a bunch of scale questions, like very easy to very difficult for a bunch of common tasks that people use the software tools for. And then we had some open-ended questions as well. And we've got all the qualitative data in terms of those scores. Long day. Quantitative data in terms of the averages and those number scores. And we have the qualitative data in the open-ended responses, the free-form responses that people filled in. And today I was working on kind of a TLDR summary, trying to highlight the top 3 areas or themes that came up, and then moving to recommendations, coming up with a few recommendations. One set of recommendations I say like keep doing, because I wanted to emphasize some positive things. I think it can be very easy with these like UX or like usability testing. You're trying to find problems. This UX or product satisfaction survey, ultimately, like my main goal is to find problems. We also ask about good things too. And highlighting some of those good things, one of the ways I like to frame that is things we should keep doing. We should be thoughtful and encourage this, acknowledge it, celebrate these good things that we're doing that our customers are recognizing and appreciating. So have the recommendations for things to keep doing and then a few things to start doing, right? New things that we may want to look into. So that's one thing that I'm doing. The second thing, and I'm making a gun, maybe I'll change it to a peace sign. The second thing that I'm doing is working on mocking up some landing pages, some new landing pages for the venture side. And actually, I can show you the public. Let's see if I can get to the public. AngelList venture for investors. Funds, syndicates for investors. So pages like these, looking at revamping these pages. So this page, which is very like vanilla, old school AngelList, looking at reimagining these and redoing the content as well. So those are two of the projects that I'm working on these days. And once things go public, I will be more than happy to talk about those projects and maybe share some of the, we can probably share some of the findings report as well and talk about these products. Oh, I keep forgetting to share my screen. Thank you. All right, we're gonna keep it on here. Thanks, appreciate it. This is one page. Let's see, I'll duplicate this. I can share the page. I'll put the URLs too, just in case you're curious or you like. I'll put that one in. These are just a couple of examples of the types of landing pages that my colleague Vanessa, who's an amazing software engineer, she's been my primary partner for one project that is getting close to being ready for launch, and that's an internal app part of the project. And then she's also going to be working on helping me build these landing pages. Okay. Thank you very much for the questions and for the voting. I think I'm going to keep doing that, and I'll try to bring along these questions into the next week. Apparently, this question bank is only live. You can have questions live for 1 week. I couldn't just make an infinite question page, but I'll look at moving these questions over as I start a new one. So thanks for that. All right, without further ado, let's do some portfolio review. Yes, it's time. Let's do it. Okay, so I'm gonna do something differently. For better or worse, you tell me when we're done with it. I'm going to, instead of talking about high-level themes and broad strategies and tactics for general portfolio design improvement, I'm going to try to identify like 3 things on each page that I would fix first. I'm going to pretend like my job is to improve this portfolio, and I'm going to talk about 3 things that I'm going to fix on each page and why. And fix, I don't mean that something is broken. I mean improve. Something that I would, pour gasoline on a fire to make it even better, or maybe there's an issue that I would try to address in a certain way. Alrighty, let's do it. Okay, Matt, hope you're still around. Hope you're ready. Here we go. Matt. Okay, so name, product designer, cool. First thing I'm gonna do as Matt is, well, as the client hired by Matt to improve this portfolio site as quickly as possible, I'm gonna have a quick chat with Matt and try to figure out what is something that is Matt's superpower or strength. What's something unique about Matt that sets him apart from other product designers? He's already got the hip trendy label, cool. He's got his location. Those are 2 helpful things. I want to help Matt set himself apart by finding out what his superpower, secret sauce, some unique, interesting strength that we can highlight. Number 2, the second thing I'm going to do, I'm going to replace this mjs.xd, which maybe it's like an Adobe XD file name. I mean, I get it. It's right here, mattsilvermanxd.com. But I would just spell out his name. I'm just going to go like super simple. I don't want to remove all confusion. I'm just going to put Matt Silverman, maybe. Yeah, probably just Matt Silverman. That's it. Or maybe Matt S if I'm trying to be like, keep things really short. I'm going to change work Am I going to change work? No, work can be work and about. The other thing I'm going to change though is I don't know what's the difference between work and homepage. So let me click on work and see what happens. Okay. Oh, I see. This is the indicator that this is the current page. All right, so that's something I do differently. Number one, add superpower. Number two, I'd change this thing. Number three, I'd actually invest in a specific homepage, a homepage that may include some of these things or hint about these things, but provides more of a general overview about a high level, who Matt is, what he does, some of his experience, a call to action, right? And then I would use the work and about to dive even deeper. So that's going to be my homepage stuff. Also, I would also put a copyright. This is more than 3, but as part of my homepage thing, I would put some sort of information. I don't see any way to contact Matt. So actually that's a really critical thing. Have some way to contact you, a link to your email, something. Copyright with date can also be super helpful because then we know like, well, is this 10 years old? Like, is Matt still a product designer from San Francisco? There's nothing that provides us any sense of time. The copyright can really do something, can really be an easy way to just plug that in. All right, now we're talking about the work page. So 3 things I'm gonna change about work page. I'm gonna get rid of, and I think Matt already knows this, I'm gonna get rid of the hover state text, and I'm gonna make this text static like this. Like he's kind of got some, he's moving kind of in a nice direction where he's got some text that's static already. If all these things are in progress, I'm also gonna make that so it's not in hover. So I'm gonna like kill the hover stuff, long live static content. It helps me understand what things are more quickly. The second thing that I'm gonna do with the work page is, what am I gonna do with the work page? It would probably be the images, right? So I think what I would do is invest some time and resources into coming up with some more compelling visuals. Like these visuals are like, they're nice and they're okay. And let's see, I'm gonna pull in, I need to find Wes Cooper's. So I checked out Wes's last time, and I'm just gonna, hopefully Matt, you can find some inspiration here, because Wes, before I show this, and I guess it's too late because I already showed it, he had like a plain text portfolio, and I told him, I said, hey, something that I invested in heavily was like visuals. Like if you can grab people's attention with strong visuals, that's going to help a lot in increasing your visibility and get people exciting. And I think Wes did a pretty awesome job of that. So Matt, I would take a look at Wes and see some of the kinds of things he's doing. He's kind of showing things. He's not necessarily showing screenshots and things, but he is making very strong visual kind of cards to talk about his projects, which I think you've kind of got started going. I think you can push even harder on this to come up with even stronger visual callouts for these. And then the second, wait, was that 2? The third thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to rethink this text here. So helping college students explore their campus, that's actually pretty good. It tells what? So I guess this is going to go a little bit into general strategy for portfolios. The common thing for people to do, the most common thing for people to do is tell you a brand. It'll say like unified, and I'll be like, what the heck is that? How am I supposed to know if I'm interested in looking at this one or that one or the other one when my choices are unified, door number 1, random door, EventMate, random door number 2, or Alto, random door number 3, right? The second level, which is a little bit better, is what Matt's got going on here. He's telling what? He's saying helping college students explore their campus. So this, I get from this context, this is an app that you can access on a smartphone, and it will help college students explore their campus. Okay, good. EventMate, event-based networking platform. So it's telling me what, which is helpful. It's way better than just a like brand name, right? It's way better. It's 1,000 times better than nothing, like just a image of a smartphone. How do you go to the next level? What I see as the next level is the news headline, right? What does the Wall Street Journal say? What is, I don't know, pick your favorite news media source, and check out some of their headlines, how those are written. Other things that you can think about are talking about the impact it had, right? If you decreased the amount of time college students took getting from point A to B by, an average of 5 minutes per trip, boom, like that's something, that's a cool result. That's a valuable result. So impact focus, why? Like, what's your goal? Like, why help college students explore the campus? Like, what's the point, right? So not to be like snarky or facetious, but I think the question, so what, can be a valuable tool, especially if it's one that you use in your internal dialogue. So once you've written some content, ask yourself like, well, I guess it's kind of like playing devil's advocate, right? So what? So what if you help college students explore their campus? Well, there's usually a good answer to that. So that's something that you can also think about incorporating into the projects. The one other thing I will mention about like titles is you can get a little bit longer. Like having a heading and having, another sentence or two is perfectly reasonable. Like I don't shy away from reading a short blurb about something or a short summary before diving in. So that kind of TLDR or executive summary, it's more work. Like it's hard to write concisely, right? But I think that's a big thing that can help. All right. I think those are my 3 for the work. I'm not gonna go. Did I go into one too? All right. I guess I got to go inside. So now I'm doing case study. Raj, can we give feedback on my portfolio? Of course. If you have ideas or things that confused you or things that frustrated you, I'm always welcome to feedback. In fact, sorry to take away from this map. I'll just show. I think I have it on every page. So let's just go to the bottom. You can actually give feedback on any page of my site. If you go to the very bottom, I think this is showing up, yes. You can click on give feedback. And you can leave your suggestion. I do read every suggestion. If you want, you can add your name and a link and an email if you're cool for follow-up. And then what I'll do is, it's not actually what I wanted it to have happen though. It looked like it redirected me away. So that's something I need to fix. Oh, no one left feedback for this page. All right, let's go to the home page. Just to so I'm not, so you believe me, developing trust. When people leave feedback, I do read it. Like Raj in August of 2018 reported a broken button. Someone else did too. Erhan did too. I fixed it. Other people pointed out these other things, which I looked into and addressed and I helped fix. So these are my thank yous. So if you do have some feedback and you want some credit for it and be immortalized in this thank you page associated with a funny little donger, you're welcome to leave feedback through the link. All right, that was a little detour. Back at case study. So again, case study, I think Matt did a really good job of consistency. So right, I clicked on this red thing that had a phone and had some text, and he's repeating that. Cool. I wouldn't change anything except, right, investing in the descriptive headline, right, and the visuals. Keeping that consistent though, right on. Wouldn't change anything about that. Context. Matt's doing other things I really like. He's telling me, well, this actually conflates a couple things. I think he means the date when he did it was in 2017. I don't know when, but it also gives me the duration. So 2 months is not really date. 2017 is date, but I get it, right? It's a simple way. And guess what? Short beats good. You could say, well, you could say, well, Adam, should I make another thing that says duration and have 2 months? Well, you could, but you know what? This, even though it strikes me as a little odd or a little weird, it works. I understand what you mean. I mean, if I understood it correctly, that this project happened in 2017. You worked on it for about 2 months. If that's true, then this worked. So I think that's something also really important when you're listening to feedback is, okay, someone may say something is weird or have an idea, but did it block them? Did it stop them? If it didn't stop them, like, what's the harm in keeping this short? But yeah, if it was like September and October 2017, that would even be, I would say that would even be more consistent with this label and still communicate the duration. So yes, Matt, I see in chat, you're already on the right track of a simple way to make that even better. Team, fantastic. One thing I always tell is like, I don't know these people. Like, I know a handful of people in the world. The chances of me knowing them from a random portfolio review, fairly small. So what I always encourage is, don't just put the name, put the title. The title is even more important. And be sure you check with your team members if they're cool for you to call them out. In general, I would be comfortable putting like people's name S period, like abbreviating their last name, V period. But even more important is like, what role did Siddharth play? Was this a software engineer? Was this a product manager? Knowing the people that you worked with, knowing their roles is actually more important than their names. He's got his responsibilities. I think I'm going to go this is going to go, what are we doing for time? We're good on time. We'll spend a little bit more time on this. Roles and responsibilities. Let me see if I can get that. Do I have Angel's jobs here? I think so. Let me find it. Let me pull up a job post. Here we go. Job. Come on. Come on. Slow loading. Number one frustration of anything is speed. We're trained to be like so impatient these days. All right, so we've got this product designer role at AngelList. Well, we will. Presumably sometime in the future. There we go. We got it. I'm scrolling down to this stuff. Let me zoom in so it's, wow. Cool, it looks like I can hide this out of the way. Hopefully that's a little bit more visible on the screen that you're looking at. These are essentially responsibilities, right? Things that you will do. So one of my number one, I guess is it a trick? I don't know if it's a trick. It's a tip. It's a tactic. Is as much as you can, when you're trying to summarize, let's move these guys together. When you're trying to summarize your responsibilities on a project, pull right from here. Steal these things. Did you build wireframes and early stage prototypes to test your assumptions? Boom, copy, paste. I'm working off screen here. You'll see it in a moment. Boom, some little voodoo magic. Bullet list it, line it up on the left. Be careful with the center alignment. There's two things for me personally that center alignment does. Well, one thing for me personally, one thing for humans in general. For humans in general, centering text is more effort and work because there's no common line to return to. So your eyes are bouncing. You read like this, and then you want to go back here, but then you have to go here. And then you go here, and then you go here. When things are lined up like this, look at this strong left alignment. Your eye knows where to go back. It's always going back to the same line with each new line. So you can scan it much more quickly. There are instances where short strings of text, like this date and 2 months 2017, my role as product designer, those are perfect examples of where center text works just fine. Very short strings, very limited strings. When you're optimizing for scannable lists, left align. All right, we've got an overview. Too long didn't read. What's the simple thing here? And I'd say like one of the low-hanging fruits that I would love to see in more portfolio sites is video. Like, I bet you Matt, if I asked Matt to tell me about this project in 30 seconds, he could tell me all this stuff in a much more engaging way than me reading this. Like, honestly, I'm not going to read all this. I'm just going to scan. And so this is another big thing. Make sure that your headings are doing some heavy lifting. Don't let your headings be lazy. I'm gonna call this as like pretty lazy headings, right? Overview, okay, great. Tells me kind of what the section is. Summary. Didn't actually summarize anything, but just tells me there's a summary here. Not super helpful, right? If there was some key net result, what is it? What is it? What can you just tell me in this scannable text? Problem. What was the biggest problem you're solving? I don't know. I have to like dig through and find it. I feel like Matt can probably tell me the problem in like 7 words, right? It'd be like a challenge. Tell me the problem in 7 words. Boom. You put those 7 words here. Bam. I just scanned it, right? Responsibilities. If you want to make this easier, right? Back to these kind of like what I did. Bullet points. Ditch paragraphs as much as possible. Think about scannability. For me, I'll just call it this red flag. I'm not sticking with my 3 things. I'm going to stick with my 3 things to keep on time. So I'll just do one more, Matt. One more thing I would do is I would rip out this design processing. Unless your goal is to call yourself out as someone who wants to be perceived as, well, this is not someone who wants to be. Adam, get to the point. What's a TLDR? Stop rambling. All right. If you put a design process diagram like this to me, and I expect to other hiring managers and design peers who have been doing design work for a while, this is a huge flag that screams, I'm a super junior designer. That's it. That's my takeaway. When I see this, all I see is, hello there, junior designer here. For better or worse, right? This doesn't actually mean that Matt is a super junior designer, but just seeing this is a red flag. I've come to correlate this with very junior designers feeling it necessary to like talk about the design process. Think about the audience, right? Your audience is hiring managers, recruiters, and peers. All of those people should be somewhat familiar with what designers do. So you probably don't need to talk about what designers do, and rather you can focus this actual static presentation more like the actual portfolio presentation. For example, you may say, well, Adam, you're like a complete hypocrite. Like you go into your work page, you like just talk about a little thing. Like you don't have any case studies. Like what's the deal? You're right. I don't have any case studies. This is actually, for me, someone who's been working as a designer for a number of years, I actually find it more efficient to not have case studies on my portfolio, make my portfolio site, try to make it attractive enough so that people are regularly contacting me. That's kind of how I gauge things, is how many days does it go by before I get like a new recruiter contacting me. And then I like to say, they'll often say like, do you have portfolio? Do you have case studies? Then it's in my core. I can say, oh, of course I do. Like, what kinds of things are you really interested in seeing? What does a team want to see? Then I dig in. I get even more information. Guess what? I can custom cater the case study or whatever I share with them. I can customize it and optimize it for what they're looking for to tell the story or to align with the company. I can tweak it. I'm not saying that's an effective strategy if you're going in for I wouldn't use that same strategy if I was going for my first design position. I think then my overall strategy would be to take my presentation and put that into a static format so that there's essentially parity between the two. I'm just filling in a few little gaps where normally I would be talking to things. I might add some short blurbs of text. All right. I'm going to stop there just to keep on my like 3. I know I can dive in here, like I can talk about this all day, but I really want to try this process of like, this new process of like focusing on 3 things I'm going to change. I hope that so far you're getting some value out of this, Matt. And I'm going to talk last but not least about page. 3 things I'm going to change on the about page. Focus, Adam. Number 1, I'm going to replace this with a higher resolution and very smiley, friendly photo. Not to say that Matt doesn't look friendly, it looks to me like more neutral. And the danger with looking neutral is sometimes, depending on who's looking at it, neutral can look angry. or can be perceived as angry. So I try to encourage people to avoid neutral face, happy face. Things I do like about the photo though, I like his striped shirt. Like, I think there's ways to like look like a designer, right? Depending on the clothing that you're wearing. I really like that there's, he's in a scene, right? He's not behind a brick wall or a white background or something generic. Like I get there's like water and there's like city. So I already get like some sense of Matt, he's in the city. He's, I can make some assumptions and imagine things about Matt being a person in the city just from this context. So I like the context. I would just replace this with a more smiley photo because I think that's huge. Like people's first impression counts a lot. And if the first photo they see of you is something that looks like, oh, this looks like a happy, fun person, then guess what? Guess who we like to work with? We like to work with happy, fun people. It makes work easier and better when we're working with happy, fun people. So that's number one. Number two, the number two thing that I'm going to change is this text. Now I'm going to do two things to it. Number one, I'm going to put this in some sort of like tool. Ooh, this is my chance to drop tools. HemingwayApp.com, and this has a desktop app as well. This is my go-to. I've used Grammarly a lot in the past as well, but I feel like this one is a lower barrier to entry. It helps by highlighting readability, and more importantly, it helps flag your long sentences. I have a tendency to write in very long sentences, and this tool saves me so many times and makes my writing so much better. Writing's hard. Writing well is even harder. And I think using tools like this is a must when you're coming up with content. Did I paste that in chat? I did. Boom. All right. That's that. And the other thing that I do is, you notice how long this text is. The problem with having this really long text is I'm looking at this on a very large monitor. Well, it's not that large. But it's bigger than the laptop computer I have. Let's say that. And my eyes I pretty much have to turn my head to read this comfortably, and that's not comfortable. So look at setting a max width on your content. So I'll just kind of show you what I'm doing here. I've got this div. It's got this width, and I could just do the width here. I'll do 800. I'll just do the before and after. So that's 800. It was at 1200. I'll create a little way to toggle it. So which is more comfortable to read? A or B? A or B? I see people in chat are also talking about optimizing line height and other things. Yes, there's other things to optimize for readability, legibility of this text. This is the first one that I'm going to do to make it more comfortable, is just change that width. Third and last thing that I'm going to change as I only have one change left that I can make, I'm going to feature a whole bunch of fun facts about myself as Matt. So as Matt, I'm going to, and actually he talks about some things right here. Look at this. By the way, when I see AR, I can't help but thinking it's my initials. My initials happen to be Adam Ruff. So I don't know if other people with initials AR have the same thing. I'd be curious to find out. Anyways, that was totally just a total tangent. Exploring the city, right? So what could he do for exploring the city? Maybe he could create a custom Google map that highlights some of his favorite places. Too much work? Simple bullet list. Couple of your favorite places or places you want to go. Photos from cool places. Maybe you say like, hey, guess where this photo was taken? Watching Giants games. Cool. Maybe you can show a photo of yourself at the Giants games. Who's your favorite player? I don't know. I'm not super into sports, but there's plenty of people are really into sports and will have that connection, right? Playing golf. So this one's interesting. Like, where's your favorite place to play? How long have you been playing? All kinds of like fun things. Maybe a link to golf course, link to golf lessons. Who knows? Studying early American history. Like, is there a favorite time period? What kinds of, there's tons of like good links and things to that. So links is very easy. Traveling, again, okay, is this like within the US, internationally, certain types of places, cities, beaches, I don't know. What's modern travel like? Disaster zones, food places. I would crank the volume up on I'm Matt. I'm not only going to do the design work, like I can do the design work, but look, I'm the super cool, interesting person who's going to like know all the stats and be able to tell you the score of the Giants games. I'm going to be able to give you a little tour of the city or recommend some places. I'm going to help you start playing golf. I'm going to school you a little bit about American history. And then I'm going to share some epic travel stories. All right. That's it. And actually, Matt does have his contact information, so the stuff's all good. It's a low-hanging fruit, right? Matt is to get this out onto other pages as well. So if someone happened to look at other stuff, and then be like, all right, that's it. I guess there's no way to, contact him. I guess I'll just leave. You want to make sure they can find this even easier. Boom. All right. I love to do claps, right? I'll have to figure out how I get my, the claps that I used to do on Twitch, onto YouTube here. For now, I'll just do it on chat. Thank you very much, Matt, for requesting that. I hope you found it valuable. I think that other people watching probably got something out of this too as well. So really appreciate you putting yourself out there. And it's not you. Putting your portfolio out there, right? Portfolio is not you. You are not your portfolio. You are not your work. You are a person. You know what I mean. Alrighty. Next up. What's next up? Portfolio review. It looks like for the next hour or so, I want to wrap up a few things and then start a little new project. So I guess this is a point where I'll do a recap, short recap, after I get a drink. Having water nearby is super helpful. I notice that I tend to, I'll get into my work and many minutes have passed by and I may not have taken a drink. I can get dehydrated. All right, so what are we looking at here? Startup Bible. I suppose I should, let me plug Startup Bibles because it is a valuable resource. Startup Bibles. Here it is. I really need to bookmark this. Boom. Sharing. Done. Let me plug this into chat so you all can check this out. Am I missing? I'm sorry. I'm missing things. All right. Raj says, what tools are we using at work? The tools that I'm using primarily are Sketch, Abstract, which is basically a Git or version control for Sketch files. I'm using InVision. I'm using a tool called Notion. If you haven't checked out Notion, I'm really falling in love with it. I'm using it not only for work, I've started using it for side projects and like freelance projects as well. It's like one of these kind of no-code things. You can do a lot of cool stuff. It's like Google Docs on steroids. That's what I'm using. Yeah, I'm trying to think of other regular tools. Slack for instant messaging communication. Yeah, those are the ones that are coming to off the top of my head. And Ralph heard about this Notion on a UX stream this morning. Fantastic. All right. Other people are sharing it too. We're not alone. Good to know. I'll be curious, Ralph, if once you have a chance to check it out, to get your first impressions and hear what kinds of things you're doing with it. All right. So let's see, the Startup Bibles thing. So this was something I found on Product Hunt, and I thought, wow, it's number one, I really like the visuals. It's very super comfy. To me, this is a super visually comfy website. It's very cool. It's like a blue blanket, and it has these great resources. It has access to these documents and great resources that startups share. So Basecamp, one of my favorite companies in terms of leading by example, carving out their own path. Pretty amazing company. They got all this cool stuff to check out. So I liked it, and at the same time, there are things I didn't like about it. I didn't like that I had to mouse over. By now, you may have just seen when we reviewed Matt's portfolio, hiding things in hover text. One of my huge pet peeves. To me, it's the website is being lazy, and it's making people do the work. If your website or your app is making people do work, like try to remember stuff, that's annoying, right? Have your app or website do a little bit more hard work. Make life easy for the humans. Pull this hover stuff out. That was one thing. Number two, the thing I didn't like is that I have to scroll a lot and see all these big things, and then I have to click, and then I have to wait for it to load, and then to go switch to another one, I have to go back and start. So last week, I did what I call design surgery. I basically took this design and hacked up something that I think is an improvement. And I'll share with you that improvement now, and then we're going to go ahead and share it to the world. Share it to the world? Share it with the world? Either one works. So just to be clear, I set a couple of requirements for myself about this. This is the existing site. I wanted to make sure I had all the existing functionality, and you'll see I have everything except the submit thing, which is actually duplicated in the submit button. So you're not going to see something that looks like this, but we do have the functionality. This content is here. Much of this content is here. We have the who made this slight by slight, and I also have the featured by product hunt. So I included all that content, and my idea was simply dive in there, start showing them a document. Don't make people click and dive in, go to another page and come back, but rather have the list along the left. I tried to use a similar aesthetic, very comfy rounded corners, very soft muted shadows, and then some sort of indicator for, hey, this is the doc you're on. And my assumption is that this list can you can scroll through. Maybe in the future, some advanced functionality, you can search by keyword or different thing. My thinking was that if you have just this list here and you just click on it and you get all the document stuff, you actually don't need that subtext. So that text that was visible on the hover, you don't actually need that because it's all contained in this page. So I tweaked this page design a little bit as well, and this is my idea for an improvement on the product. So tonight I want to take the next step of putting this together in a little animation to show the differences, and then get this shared out with the awesome folks at Slight who made Startup Bibles. Who knows, maybe this inspires them. It's definitely more work, and based on loading times and things, I don't know how smooth of an experience this would be, if it would actually be better, but it doesn't hurt to share. I took the time to think through this and make this design. It really only has a chance to have impact if I share it with the people who have the power to make the change, right? And then I also went through and thought a little bit on mobile. The mobile experience is quite janky. I didn't record it to show it here, but this is essentially my updated version for mobile. So you have some of the same functionality. Yes, it's centered text, right? I think what I did was I took a screenshot from code. So this is not something that I had in text layers and Sketch to manipulate very easy. So you can say, Hey, what about left aligned text, Adam? You're right. That's a gotcha. Yes. This would be stronger as left aligned. In my speed to kind of put this together, there's that like sloppiness. And the idea here is that you can click, it's a drop down menu, and then you can pick from any of the options, and then you dive right into the document itself. So that's stuff that I have. So what do I want to do? Next steps. I think I'm going to open Sketch. I know I'm going to open Sketch. And I'll pull Sketch up on the other, yeah, I think, oh yeah, this is an image. See, it's an image that I took from a screenshot, so I don't have it in a convenient way to left align that, unfortunately. All right, let's get this up here. One-handed, I'm finding that a lot of my keyboard shortcuts are spread out and require two hands, and so I'll figure this out. Bear with me. I do have some other ways of doing it. There we go. That should be full screen now. You can see here, I'm not lying, like I actually did this in Sketch. You can see this was from the stream 1. So what I want to do now is create, let me get to 100% zoom. Where's my zoom? 60%, 100%. I think maybe I'll just focus on these two. Maybe leave the mobile out for now, just for in the interest of doing things quickly. But what I want to do is I want to have an animation optimized for Twitter. So does anyone off the top of their head know what the optimal image size is for a Twitter image? Anyone in chat? Twitter post image size. 1024 by 512. Is that true? Always up to date. That's a great label for document if you're committed to it. This is probably a document worth bookmark. May 20th, super recent. This might be a helpful one if you're ever, I feel like I search for this every single time because I never know if things have changed. It's not that I don't necessarily remember what happened last time, but I just know things change. Profile photo, header photo, no. In-stream photo. Minimum 440 by 220, 2:1 ratio. Maximum to appear expanded, 1024 by 512. All right, so I think that's what I'll do. Let's do that. 1024, 512. And then I can export it at 2x, I think, and have a really high res thing. I'm guessing that's what's going to happen. So what is this? This is only 495. Should I put them side by side and then I don't need an animation? I may try that. Let's see how much appears here. Oops. What did I do? I think I selected the artboard instead of the image. Oh, interesting. Is there a way to crop to artboard? What are my options? Okay, I know what I can do. I can put I'll use a mask. I wonder why there isn't an easy way to crop images to the artboard. So I'll get rid of the border because I always forget about that, and then I'll see it published and I'm like, oh, I have this ugly border. And then I'm going to use a mask. That will help me copy. Oh, and then I'll put everything in a group. Command G, group it. It is grouped. And then I can put it here. Okay, that shows quite a bit. That's actually pretty nice. Why is it on a weird value? Okay, and then I'm gonna do the same thing here, I guess. I'm gonna create a full kill the border by hitting B and then moving this backwards beneath all the layers. I think that's at the bottom now. I'm going to create that as a mask. And then I'll do Shift Select to group everything. And we're going to group this into one group, I think. No, it didn't happen. And then group it. No, something's not working right. Okay, detach this group. Detach this group. And now everything is mapping to this. Wow, why do I have all these? There's nothing in here but this. I don't think there's anything there. Let's see what happens if I delete it. Wait. Yeah, there's nothing inside it. There we go. Now we got it. There was just some weird groups that I had. All right. Now it's grouped. Now I'm ready to copy. Whoops. Rando click on rotate. All right, and I've got this. And we've got some space. How do we want to use that space? Just a background color. Maybe we pull a color that we see there. Like that. What do you think? Is this, do you get the gist of it? Should they be closer together? Oops. What looks the best? Flush to the left with flush left and right with some space in the middle. Some border on each side. Any thoughts in chat? I'm leaning towards this. I think that looks the cleanest. And then, is that color better than white? Let me just add it to the document real quick. Is it better than like something really bright? Let's go that. Okay. And then should I call out current and proposed? Maybe a little tag up here, huh? Wow, look at that. Font, awesome font. Let's go with my Montserrat, which I'm pretty in love with. And let's type current. And I'm going to use Anima's padding feature to create a little background around that. And padding, I'm going to use 8 pixel scale. Let's do 16 top and bottom. Let's see what 16 left and right looks like as well. Okay, that's what that looks like. I'm going to round the corners. Let's see. Let's try 8. 8 is pretty comfy. Let's try 16. 16 looks nice. All right. I'm gonna give this I'm gonna do kind of like a semi-opaque overlay. Like that. And then let's make this smaller. Should adapt. There we go. I'm kind of put that in the corner here. I'm gonna check my. I'm gonna put it set at 8 pixels. And why is there something on the edge there? What's going on here? I don't know why it didn't. Does this one have the same issue? No, that one's flush to the left. Cool. So we have current. And we have proposed. 8, 8. Should I call it current and proposed or current and concept? Well, I'll propose it. Let's do that. All right, and then let's have. I feel like I want to keep this color to have, but current proposed. I think that will stand out more. Bold. Extra bold. I'm afraid that the super heavy black weight is reducing the legibility a little bit. So I'm trying to reduce it. And then how's this thing actually going to look? Right? I should look at it. That's 100%. That's not what it's going to show up like on Twitter though, right? It's going to be like 50%. That. Current proposed. I feel like that works. Cool. All right, we've got the graphic ready for the tweet. Let's, I'm going to rename this artboard as something like Startup Bibles Proposal for Slight. Slight is the creator. All right, cool. We're going to make this exportable. We are going to do this at 2x. I'll do it at 1x too, just in case there's any issue with uploading. I'm going to export. I'm going to, where am I going to put it? I'm going to put it on my desktop, I guess. All right, so things are exporting now. I have this plugin, Image Optim, which is a PNG file crusher that I like to use. I think it's just good best practice whenever you're exporting images. Make sure you crush them and make them as small as possible. That's going to help for everything, right? Helps primarily for speed, right? Cool. So those are squashed. Now we can go to, I'm going to just save this work here. Now we can go over to Twitter. Twitter.com. You can see my stream. And there's Scott McCloud. Scott McCloud is an amazing graphic artist. And even more importantly, he teaches you about understanding comics and how to make comics. And he's amazing. And I got to see him present in San Francisco a few weeks ago, and he was an amazing, hilarious presenter too. If you ever have the chance to see Scott McCloud in person, please do so. What do lying, killing, surveillance, and tasty fake meat all have in common? Answer: they're all about to get much, much more sophisticated thanks to technology very, very soon. Ugh. Yes. Smileless face. All right, we're gonna tweet. We're gonna add this image. Gonna go to my desktop, and I'm gonna try the 2x version. I'm gonna see what happens, and it shows in the middle, and say I want this to be really affirming and positive. This is wasted space for this composing a tweet. Like, why doesn't Twitter do this? People might say like, oh, that's crazy. You're crazy to do something this big, but why? It's super nice. I can see it from a far distance. I actually think it's super comfortable. All right. Let's do a hand wave. I've got my... Whoops. What did I just do? Maybe weird things happen. And there we go. Oh, I see. I did a jump to the 5th tab. So there's my hand wave. Hey, at Slight. I'm assuming they have a Twitter. They do. Slight HQ. Thank you so much for Startup Bibles. I found it on Product Hunt. Verified. It's got the kitty. I found it on Product Hunt and bookmarked it instantly. Also, the designer in me. The designer in me? Is this awkward? Chat, I need some help reviewing my tweet. Also, the designer in me couldn't help but imagine a version that got to the content, that delivered the content even faster. Deliver content even faster. Has this been on video before? Has anyone else recorded themselves making a tweet? I don't know. I think there's something marginal. The process of doing this makes me really curious to watch other people compose tweets. Also, the designer me couldn't help but imagine a version that delivered the content even faster. Check out my proposed design below. What do you think? Breaking the internet, exactly. All right. SIQ, thank you so much for Startup Bibles. Let's do pray. Boom. There we go. I found it on Product Hunt and bookmarked it instantly. However, I think I'm going to say however. That delivers the content even faster. Check out my proposed design below. What do you think? Thinky face. Boom. Are we good? Does that look good? At Slight HQ, thank you so much for Startup Bibles. I guess I should double check, make sure Startup Bibles doesn't have its own hashtag. No, it doesn't. But I'm going to. Wait, what did that do? Is hashtag supposed to turn things blue? I don't remember that happening before, but I don't do it enough. All right, and then I'm going to include a link to Startup Bibles, right? Show some love and respect. Where are those Startup Bibles? Here we go. I'm gonna add the link. Oh no, it's over. All right, I'm not gonna add a link. I'm gonna add a link in a reply. But I will do hashtag live design. Oh, can I fit it? Surgery. Oh man, one one character over. All right, where can I cut a character? Thank you so much can be thanks. Boom. Thanks so much for Startup Bibles. I found it on Product Hunt and bookmarked it instantly. However, the designer in me couldn't help but imagine a version that delivers the content even faster. Check out my proposed design below. What do you think? Hashtag live design surgery. Remove the extra. Which one? This one? Thanks so much for Startup Bibles. I found it on Product Hunt and bookmarked it instantly. However, the designer in me couldn't help but imagine a version that delivers the content even faster. Check out my proposed design below. I'm super into these M dashes, Raj. I appreciate you helping me. However, the designer in me couldn't help but imagine it faster. I feel like this one's appropriate. I'm gonna keep it. Thank you for pushing me though. I think the first one was the better one to remove. I do love my M dashes. All right, let's tweet it out. Here we go. But what? But you should use this alt code 0151. Ah, I see. To use like an actual M dash. Let's see what happens. Let me paste it in. All right, there we go. All right. Yeah, I feel like some applications will turn two hyphens in a row into the M dash, and other ones I just leave it. I don't know what is alt code 051 though. I feel like I'm gonna have to create a keyboard shortcut for this M dash. Anywho, thanks for giving me a copy paste version. I appreciate it. Now it's a legit M dash. All right, let's tweet it out. Let's see what the internets think. It's sent. No going back now. There it is. Oh, nice. It shows up pretty nicely, at least on the web version feed. I don't know what this looks like in mobile. But cool. All right. We'll put it out there. We got it out there. High five. Where's my hand? Thanks for help, Raj, and everyone watching. I'd say that's the successful conclusion of that little design surgery project. We got that shared out. Boom. We are at 7:32. Are we ready for another project? Yes? No? Maybe? Let's do it. All right, so I used to have, and I think probably the URL still exists, but it's not accessible in my navigation. I used to have a page for recommended resources, and I saw something cool this week, also discovered on Product Hunt, as you can see by the parameters. I'm going to share this link, and the thing I've always, and my previous attempt at a recommended resources page had a similar tactic as this page, in terms of it had different categories, and then it gave you a bunch of options. And I think that can be interesting, and it can be helpful. However, the more and more that I have been a designer, the more I want like just one thing. Like, tell me the thing. Tell me the best thing you know to do this. Don't tell me 25 free tools that I can use to do this. Just tell me like the best one. Just give me the link. And so that's my concept for bringing back my own resources page, but it's going to be a super highly opinionated recommended resource page. It's going to say, it's going to have the different categories, or trying to do this, boom, there's your tool. Trying to do this, boom, there's your tool. The only caveat that I'm going to make is I will have something where people can pick if they're on a Windows machine or a Mac machine, because I think that's important, right? I don't want to have people on a Windows machine coming to my website, looking at these strong opinions and going, thanks a lot, Adam. Like, all these tools look cool and I can't use any of them. Thank you so much. I want to make sure I'm providing things for good folks. Yeah, look at that. Raj is talking about bookmarks for 200 design resources. What does it do? It's clutter, it's noise. Focus on one thing. So what I do want to pull from this site, though, is some of the... I want to pull some inspiration from the site. So I want to create a resources page, right? If I go to inspect and I bring this up, here's the net result of what we want. We want to copy this element and edit as HTML and paste. And then let's see, it'll be before contact probably. Let's do this. Resources. I didn't need to hit enter, so do that. So like this, I want there to be a resources. I don't know where it's gonna go. Maybe before about. But anyways, this is the goal, to get to have a resources page that does something like this, except not like this. Like this in that it looks like a well thoughtfully designed page. Want to keep that. What's my... There we go. We'll fill that back up. Maybe using some imagery. And what else? Maybe incorporating some updates and also a suggestion tool. Yeah. So those are some of the features that I want to incorporate. I'm going to go ahead and take a screenshot of this just so I have this inspiration captured. I'm using this feature of a tool called Snagit where I can scroll and capture the whole screen. Yes, Raj, do I know heuristics in usability? I do know about heuristics. If I had to explain heuristics to a 5-year-old, how would I do that? So I would start by talking about what a heuristic is. Should I switch over to my webcam? There we go, so we can focus. So a heuristic is a shortcut. Our brains are lazy. Our brains want to take the shortest amount of time, take the shortest path to get to an answer. So a heuristic is essentially that shortcut or that path that the brain takes to try to get to an answer or a result very quickly. And let me see if I can come up with a 5-year-old analogy. If I show you a blue ball, right? I show you the blue ball, and then I put it behind my back. I take it out, it's a blue ball. I put it behind my back. I take it out, it's a blue ball. I put it behind my back. Then I say, hey, what color is the ball? I switch my hand. This is not a good analogy. A better analogy is I showed you a blue ball a few times. I hit it, and then 2 minutes later, I ask you, what's the most popular ball color? And the 5-year-old says blue. Why? Well, this is a type of heuristic. They're using the most recent information to come up with it. So I think I saved the analogy. I was going off on like a weird magic trick tangent, but hopefully that helps to... It's also called a primacy effect or a recency effect, and it has to do with this heuristic about information that was recently accessed in the brain having a larger or disproportionate impact on how you see the world, right? Something that happened 2 minutes ago is going to have a much stronger impact than something that happened 1,000 years ago. Did I save it, Raj? I don't know. Could have been smoother. But that was just a ad lib. All right, let's go back. And I've got my screenshot, so I'm going to switch over to Sketch. I think I am. Where's my Sketch? There's Sketch. All right, I'm actually going to label this stream, YouTube stream 1. YT stream 001. Double zeros. I guess I'm anticipating a lot of streams. Stream 002. All right, here we go. I'm gonna paste that. I'm gonna wrap this in an artboard, I think. There we go. So this is Undesign Inspiration 1. And then I also want to switch back real quick to Chrome, and I want to get quick look at some of these. I think I'll hover over it and capture this. Interesting use of ad space in there too. I wonder if this site monetizes. Like, does this person make any money? All right, so while that's processing, I will switch back to Sketch, I think. Yes, there we go. And then what else do I want to start out with? Do I do a blank slate? Let's grab the Chrome of my website. So let's grab this as well. And I will just grab the top because I don't need this scrolling screenshot for that. All right, so there's that. And then I'll have to open up the editor to grab that other one. There we go. And really, I grabbed from my own site because I want to just create a blank slate. Blank canvas to use. There we go. And now I can make this big. And there we go. There's my blank canvas. So this is concept A. Maybe we'll do a few concepts. One of my colleagues, Chad, that I work with at Angelist on the venture team, he does a really great job of doing a bunch of variations. So you can really see even things that I'm guessing, I guess I'll have to ask him. I'm confident that he doesn't necessarily see that every single variation that he creates is super strong, but they each have their own unique strengths and weaknesses. And sometimes it can be helpful to even take the time to include something that you think is a weaker design direction, because in contrast, the stronger design directions can stand out better. You can compare them. And I think ultimately that's how you make design decisions easier, are through comparison. It's not to look at one thing and talk about, potential issues or weaknesses and strengths and try to iterate. It's more about like quickly going like A or B, B or C, A or C. And he does a great job of that. All right, so I've got this inspiration. I suppose the next thing I need to do, I need to think about some things to recommend. So I'm just gonna look in here. I guess I'm gonna pull up, because I was plugging the Hemingway editor, right, that you saw. I'm going to, and this will be slow on my one-handed typing, but I'm gonna try doing some things. So landing page inspiration. I'm kind of looking at this, looking at the undesigned things and kind of doing my own. Email design inspiration. Ralph's got a question. Let's check it out. Ralph thinks he has a project idea. What about solving the problem of people who want to build a PC but don't know what components go well with other components? Solving through technology. Whoa, did that work? That's amazing. My alerts are working. Fantastic. I'm so sorry. I don't have... Unfortunately, I'm not savvy enough with YouTube to know who that was. So I'm not going to be able to like call you out by name, but whoever just subscribed, I'll blow you a kiss. That may be a little awkward, but I was so, I don't know, I was inspired to do that. I guess maybe it's the one-handed thing. I can also do a thumbs up or snaps. But thank you. I'm extra excited because I thought that maybe my alerts were broken. And this confirms that they're actually working. So cool. All right. And back to Ralph's question, which I was totally got distracted by the subscribe. Oh no, someone's been sitting on Twitch stream. I changed my Twitch like text to say that hey, I'm over here, but I don't know how obvious that is. And I don't know exactly, like I don't want to be a jerk and like advertise YouTube on Twitch, right? Yeah. But I'm glad you made it. I think one of the cool things with YouTube is you can scroll up to see what we've been chatting about. And I think you can even scrub back and see what we've been doing on stream for anyone who's new joining us for Twitch. The wife is swimming. She'll be home soon, though, so I think we got about 15 more minutes. And to Ralph's question, people who want to build a PC don't know what components go well with others, solve this through technology, like an app. Cool. It sounds like an idea. Have you had this problem, Ralph? Do you or have you been a person who wanted to build a PC and not sure kind of what are the ideal set of components to come up with a great computer? I think scratching your own itch is often a really nice gateway into side projects. And I know there are people who build their own PCs. My Echo thing was, my Alexa was talking. I think this would actually, Ralph, I think this could be a really awesome no-code app. I think you could probably do like an Airtable or a Coda, or maybe you could even use Notion to do something that talks about the different products and kind of puts them in the tables like, okay, if you the most important thing to you is this, like, I don't know, CPU, then here are some of the things optimized for it. I think there's definitely value in helping people quickly identify components to build a PC. Raj, thank you so much for stopping by. I appreciate it. And I'm glad you're doing well. And I hope to see you again soon. Ralph says, had this issue before, didn't know what components go with what, have to be compatible too. Great, so you've kind of had the problem yourself. You've also found other people asking questions and having the same problem. To me, that's like, that's a no-brainer. Like, there's definitely value in putting together some sort of documentation or something to help them. Again, I think this could be a really interesting no-code project where you leverage some of these tools, like Coda I mentioned. I should, let me go to Chrome and just flag some of these things. Like, what am I talking about when I say Coda? I'm talking about this Coda.io. I'll put it in chat. Notion, right? I shared this earlier, but I'll just share it again so they're all kind of neatly lumped together. Airtable was another one I mentioned. I think this could be an awesome Airtable. And I think it's going to go to my own Airtable. How do I guess, log out? There we go. Why am I promoting these, Ralph? Oh, there's one other one. What's the other one? Like Glide apps? Yeah. Here's another one where you can basically like make a Google Doc and turn it into a mobile app. I'm thinking the other ones are going to be even better for this, Ralph, but those are a few I think to check out because I think basically what your proposal is basically like just capturing a bunch of data and the relationships between those. And a lot of these tools have those kind of database-like functionality. Airtable, Notion, Coda, I think all of them have some level of that. So I think that could be really good. All right, what am I doing? Back to Sketch. Have a few minutes. Matt's talking about a site for actually like collecting ideas. I think you can probably find some of those things for Google. I think there's been a few sites that I've kind of seen like start up and seeded with a few things, but then they kind of like just disappear. I haven't seen ones with really big traction. I would say a great place to start though is actually Product Hunt, right? You can see what are people making, and people are making things usually because they either see a need for it, they're solving their own itch, or they see a need, or they think there's a need, or they're just trying to, explore and make something useful. That can also be inspiration. Like if someone's doing it, doesn't necessarily mean they're covering the entire problem space. Doesn't necessarily mean there's not some additional angle or spin you could put on it. So even looking at, what people are making and thinking about, what can you do even better, are also good options. All right, where was I? I was coming up with categories. And I think I'm going to say like, I'm going to have my categories being like tasks, right? Like creating an accessible, systematic, scalable color palette. Something like that. Get inspired by amazing landing pages. Maybe, I don't know. The more I'm thinking about this out loud, the less I like it. Short beat's good. Landing page. Can be like inspiration, I think will be a top level category. Let's make this bullets. And then we have landing page, email. What other kind of inspiration? Social media. Ads. Cool. And then colors. Typography. Oops. Typography. I have to look at, I keep looking down. I have to look at the keyboard because I can type with two hands without looking, right? But my right hand only knows the right half of the keyboard. So I can't type without looking at, look, I can't even type well. I can't type without looking at the keyboard. Stock photos or just photos. And illustrations. These are like free stuff. To design patterns, tools, focus learning, icons, generators, backgrounds, patterns, ooh, texture. Textures, patterns. And then yeah, I like the idea of like tools, right? So like UI design tool. And oh, Ralph's asking, use those things to put your notes. I'm actually suggesting that you essentially build your app, right? You build your tool. You're talking about building a tool that helps people understand. I want to build a PC. Maybe I have this CPU. Now, what are the compatible? I haven't built a PC, so I'll just sound like I'll just make up words. What's a compatible sprocket, that goes with this widget? That sounds like something you can essentially create with those apps, those no code solutions, because basically it's just a bunch of static information that map to each other. So it's just database. So I'm encouraging you to use those tools to actually create your solution. And of course, you can capture your notes in there as well. You can do both. You can add your notes, you can do things, and then you can actually build the tool. Let's see. Let me see if I can find an example. All right, I only have 3 minutes left. I'm not going to make any more progress on this little side project, and that's perfectly fine. But maybe in the last 3 minutes, what we can look at is tackling Ralph's to help give Ralph a better idea. So I'm going to sign into Coda. And I'm going to make a new doc. And I don't actually know if Coda is the best one for this, but... All right, so I'm going to insert a table somehow. Comments. Packs, no. How do I put in a table? Plus sign. There we go. Table. New table. All right. So this is CPU. This is based on the CPU. What are other things in it? Graphics card. And some other widget. I guess fan maybe. I don't know. What are other things? Fan. Audio something. Audio card. RAM. Okay, there we go. Yeah, RAM. That's good. I know what RAM is. Oh, hard drive, right? CPU, graphics card, motherboard. Ooh, motherboard. I like that. Let's get that in. Okay, so here's an example. Okay, there's a CPU called like Intel Best Ever. And I'm gonna have to hop off any second. This Intel Best Ever, you could create you can change this from a text field to, this will be a, how do I change format as select list, and you can do multiple. So now I have these graphics card. I have GC1. Why isn't it typing? GC1, add GC1, GC2, GC3, and then I have this, what's another, not Intel, AMD, is that one? AMD Awesome Sauce CPU, that works with GC2 or GC, oh come on. Alright, it's a little more frustrating to use than Airtable for creating a table. And GC4, oh, no, GC4, gotta add it. You get what I'm saying here? I mean, you can see that you could be listing a whole bunch of things and you could base it off like one thing, or you could flip and you could say, well, this is the graphic card I have, what CPUs and things map to it. Right, group by CPU and graphics card, or just group by CPU, or group by graphics card. So now you flip it. Now you have this graphic card. Now you know it'll work. These will work with this. This will work with that. Does that make sense? I know this is like really, I'm doing this really short, but I see, Ralph, all of the information you need can be contained in this kind of table. And then what these no-code tools allow you to do is slice and dice. So let's say you had a motherboard and a hard drive already, and you don't know what CPU, then you could group by hard drive and motherboard, and then you'd be able to see which CPUs work, and which audio card would work, and which fan would work. So it's basically just the power that's built into these different views of these tables that would be your tool. This is your tool. Then you would literally just like save this thing, and you would share it, and you could put a URL behind it and just point it at this page, and that's your tool. That was my thinking. All right, everyone, I need to take off and start getting some dinner ready. Thank you so much for everyone tuning in. I was super pleased to see questions in our question bank and to see some old friends coming in. And I think we got through pretty much everything I wanted to do as well. Everything I said that I was gonna attempt to do. I think we did most of it. I'm curious to go back. Any action on the tweet here? We got 3 likes. All right, so some people have liked this tweet. Nice. Hopefully Slight will like it as well. I see we have people from Twitch who are liking it. Not Twitch, YouTube, who are with us tonight. Fantastic. So thanks everyone, and I hope to see you again next week. Until then, happy designing and be kind to yourself.